What's up, guys? So back with you Saturday, May 17th. Gonna talk a lot here, man. We're gonna talk about we're gonna talk about the Preakness. We're gonna talk about WNBA. We're gonna talk about NBA and NHL playoffs. We're gonna talk about Major League Baseball. So we got a lot on tap here. I still haven't entered any of my plays in the banners here, which I do still have to do. So let me let me do that real quick while I try to rant simultaneously. Let's multitask here. Or actually, I don't know. Maybe I should just enter the plays as I go. No, maybe I should do that. But anyway, I forgot to congratulate the Minnesota Timberwolves on their win, so I guess I will do that. I will not congratulate the New York Knicks on theirs. And I think that's about it for that. I will congratulate the Edmonton Oilers, I guess, if I forgot to, even though I don't like that they won. I'll congratulate the Carolina Hurricanes on their win as well, because they have advanced against the Caps. And I think that's about it. I just don't want to rant anymore about the fucking Celtics. I mean, you lose a series where you're obviously the way better team. It's unacceptable. Missoula should be fired. Betting-wise, yesterday, all baseball went 2-2. I mean, unfortunately, it was a slight loss because the Cleveland Indians lost as a favorite in a close game. I mean, I think Bibby was actually the better starting pitcher in the game and just didn't happen. I didn't look to see if a first five-inning play would have won, which would kind of piss me off, but whatever. The Mets lost as well. Just not a good performance at all out of McGill. I mean, there's nothing you could do about that. I just had that one wrong. Phillies was looking pretty bad for a while, and then they just unloaded late in the game for a bunch of late runs to easily cover that. I mean, well, easily on the scoreboard at least, but I'll take it. And then the easiest one was Minnesota-Milwaukee under. I mean, that was pretty much no doubt in a 3-0 game. Let's move on to today here. I'm still trying to enter all these plays here. Maybe I could do it on the fly here as I talk about these games. I'm going to try to get them in because I do want to kind of remember what the prices were on these. So just hold on a minute. I will talk about WNBA first, though. I'm not going to talk about every WNBA game, but I am going to play on the Las Vegas Aces +4 here. So this will be my first play. Unfortunately, I was right about the Lynx yesterday, and that was not a play that I actually made, which I hate when that happens, man, when you don't play the you have like your favorite play of the day and you don't play it. Sorry, I'm like a total mess this morning. I'm discombobulated. You can get the Aces +4. I mean, this is pretty straightforward. I mean, you're getting a good team here. I mean, these are both really good teams, but you're getting a team in playoff revenge, man. I mean, the Liberty, they won the championship last year, and they ousted Vegas from the playoffs, I believe, in the semifinals last year. So this is a big-time revenge spot for the Aces, who are still one of the best teams in the WNBA. And I know that the Liberty have had the Aces number recently and have won, I think, 4 of the last 5 games, including the playoffs, which was a 3-1 series win, I believe. But the one thing about that, well, a couple of things about that, is the first game that Vegas lost, the Liberty shot out of their minds. And, I mean, this is WNBA, so you usually do not see ridiculous shooting performances in the WNBA. So, I mean, that's just the way that it is. And Vegas did bounce back in the next game, even though they still lost the game. They were able to come within this number. I think they only lost by 3 or 4 at least, so they played a much better game. And then they wound up losing the next 2, I believe, or something like that. But they bounced back from a loss, and I think that's what they're going to do again. I think they're going to have revenge on their minds. They're going to adjust from that loss that they had to the Liberty. You're fading the champions here, man. So I know this is probably going to be, we're going to raise the banner or whatever. But that might just piss off Las Vegas even more. Even though I think Las Vegas won the championship the year before that. But they got dethroned by the Liberty last year. And simply, they're going to want revenge here, man. And they're getting points as an underdog. I know it's on the road, but it's not really a travel spot or anything like that because it's the first game of the season. And again, basically the only type of revenge that really matters is revenge like this for avenging a playoff loss. I mean, literally the last actual game Vegas played was a loss to the Liberty. So they're going to be pissed, I think. So we will take the Aces. We'll see how my WNBA handicapping is after I should have played it last night, man. Unfortunately on the what was I even going to... I forget what I was even going to talk... What was I even going to say? I should have played it on the Lynx last night. Again, I apologize. I'm just completely out of it right now. Let's go to... should I talk about Preakness now, or should I do it last? Let's go to NBA just because I have it up right now. This one, Nuggets Thunder, is the only game today. This is a Game 7, so this is winner-take-all situation here, and I am going to actually have a play on this game, and it is going to be on the under in this game, so let me enter that one in here. I believe it's under 223.5, but you'll have to check me on that, something like that. So it's a pretty high total, although granted, yes, the total was higher, listed higher in the first two games, and I think they might have actually both gone over. So we did have a higher total in games 1 and 2, but this is not game 1 or 2, man. This is game 7, and game 7, as I pointed out, especially in the later rounds of the playoffs, game 7s tend to be big-time defensive matchups, and they tend to go under. From the second round onward in the NBA, game 7s in the last 38 games have been 28 and 10 to the under. So I'm liking the under here. And yes, Denver, they're not a great defensive team, but I think they've found something here, man. They've been playing this zone defense that's really kind of been messing with Oklahoma City. And Oklahoma City, after game 5, even though I think they won the game in game 5, they were really struggling in that game to deal with that defense. And then they struggled even further in game 6. Like, they didn't adjust to it. They actually couldn't deal with it in game 6, and Denver actually won the game fairly easily in the end. So that defense might continue to be pretty good for Denver, man. Oklahoma City, I mean, they play really good defense as well. Maybe the best defense in the NBA. So I think we are going to get an under here. I mean, usually you just get a ton of defensive intensity. You get teams not wanting to screw anything up, and maybe not taking quite as like ridiculous shots in a game 7 like this. So I like the under, even though we are looking at a situation where the Thunder actually shot really poorly in the previous game, so they are probably expected to shoot better in this game. So that's a little bit of a concern, but I like the under. I would also lean to the Thunder, so under and Thunder, even though it does seem like the under would kind of help the Nuggets in a way, because if you're expecting a lower scoring game, it's going to be easier for the underdog to cover the spread, but the Thunder are actually the better defensive team, so a defensive game actually might help the Thunder. And I think you're getting line value on the Thunder. I almost play the Thunder. It is kind of tempting, but they're down from 9 to 8 here, although it looks like it's kind of going back up a little bit. 62% of tickets, 73% of the cash coming in on the Nuggets, which actually kind of surprises me because I kind of just expected the Nuggets to be public here, because I think the public sentiment on this is just that, oh, this has been a really competitive, close series, and you're giving the Nuggets all these points. It seems kind of easy to take the Nuggets. So I would tend to look the other way there. And the Thunder, they're coming off a pretty ugly game, an ugly loss. And when you get the Thunder at home coming off a loss, it's a good spot for that team, man. So I do think the Thunder are the right side here. And again, as I was alluding to, you're actually getting line value here because the Thunder were 10.5 point favorites in all of the other home games in the series. And now you're looking at an 8. So I think there is pretty clearly line value on the Thunder here as well. So that would be the way that I would have to lean. The main issue that I have, not really the market read here, because I do think the Nuggets are still probably a slightly public team, but the main issue that I kind of have with the playing the Thunder side here is that the Nuggets have the pedigree and the experience, man. In a game 7 like this, that does matter. So I could see the Nuggets playing a really competitive game here nonetheless. I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't really think this is going to be a repeat of game 2, though, when I bet the Thunder in that really nice bounce back spot. I think this might kind of be somewhere in the middle. I do think the Thunder will still cover the spread, but I think if they do, it's probably going to be, I would guess they win by somewhere between 10 and 15 points would be my guess. So let's go to NHL here now. I do have a play in the NHL game as well, which I think is a nice bounce back spot. Dallas Stars is where we're going to go, even though you're paying a little bit of a heavier price on this than you were earlier in the series. Minus 150, minus 149, whatever it is. They got 79% of tickets, 94% of the cash. I don't know if I totally agree that with these numbers here, because I would kind of expect the public to be back on Winnipeg, even though Dallas has the lead in the series. Winnipeg is coming off a 4-0 win, man. So I think the public, they're so recency biased. I would kind of expect them to like Winnipeg more in this game, just seeing the recency and knowing that Winnipeg is still the team that had the best record in hockey, although I keep pointing out that the President's Trophy winner, the best record in hockey, actually does poorly in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So we'll see what happens, but I think Dallas gets it done here, man. I mean, they are super motivated to win this game. They've been the better team in the series. They've had more lopsided wins in the series. I think the Winnipeg has, really. Dallas did get one of the games on the road as well, game 1, which is really big for them. And I was on Dallas in game 1. I was on Winnipeg in game 2 in the bounce back spot. I was on Dallas in game 3 coming off getting shut out. Oh, and they won that one. I stayed off of game 4, and then I came back and played Winnipeg in game 5, and I think they were off getting shut out, or at least getting destroyed by Dallas on the scoreboard. Now it's Dallas back in the spot where they got shut out. They're going to try to bounce back from a shutout here. So I think this is a spot to play Dallas again. I'm 4-0 playing the sides in the 5 games in this series. So my gauge on the series has been really good, and I hope it continues here. I think I did get a little bit lucky in game 1. I think I nailed the other 3 games. Dallas, again, second time in the series now. They're coming off being shut out, I believe. They're going to show up in this game, man, at home. And again, they do not want to have to go back to Winnipeg, because if that happens, they're probably going to lose that game. Winnipeg is such a good home team, but they're not quite as good on the road. Dallas is pretty good at home, so I like Dallas here. I think they're going to be able to get it done. And, of course, I had Winnipeg losing in my bracket in this round to Colorado, so what can you do? But I do expect Dallas to bounce back nicely, even though if you do look at the stats from the previous game, Winnipeg did dominate the game. They had a much higher shot total, a much higher hit total. They won the face-off percentage. They dominated the game, but that has not been the case throughout this series. The series has been a lot closer than that. So I think Dallas is the move here again, making the adjustments coming off that ugly shutout performance in a really tough environment, a tough place to win. Dallas will be the play in that game. All right. Now, Major League Baseball or Preakness? What should I do? Because Preakness, I kind of got to get my thoughts in order for the Preakness to actually do this. I was looking, there are only 9 horses in the Preakness. Hold on. Let me look at the lineup again real quick here. Preakness, actually, let me bring up the odds if I can. Try to get it on my screen here. Because I do have some thoughts on the Preakness here, which is a much shorter field than the Kentucky Derby, by the way. So, actually, yeah, I can bring this up. We got we do have the odds here, so let's do that. All right. So here's the Preakness. We only have 9 horses here. Now, the main thing that people are going to point out about the Preakness is that we're not going to have a Triple Crown winner this year, man. Unfortunately, for the people that like to watch for that, we're not going to have a Triple Crown winner because Sovereignty is not going to run. His trainer and whatever and owners have decided they don't want to overexert him, overextend him. They just don't want to run in the Preakness. So they're not going to make a run at the Triple Crown, which is very difficult to do. The books probably don't like that because the books always put up a prop. Will there be a Triple Crown winner this year? And I think that prop just becomes void if that horse doesn't run. If one of the horses doesn't run in the 3 races. Well, I might be wrong. Maybe they will still. The books will still be able to like cash in on that bet, because that's a bet that the public always bets yes, there will be a Triple Crown winner, because it's like such crazy odds. Like you get some ridiculous odds on it, but even given that, it's still not even good enough odds. It is so rare for there to be a Triple Crown winner. I think the last one was American Pharaoh, which was the only modern one. I think there might have been one other one. I think before that, you have to go back to like the 70s, if I remember correctly. I might be a little bit wrong about that, but I don't even know. It really, really is rare. So anyway, we're not going to get one this year because Sovereignty won the Kentucky Derby, and he is not going to be running in this race. So now we do have 9 horses run. I believe it's still 9 horses running. There have been some horses that have been scratched, I think, from the race. But Goal Oriented is going to be running on the rail, a 6-1 horse here. Run by a pretty experienced jockey, Flavian Pratt, and the trainer Bob Baffert, very experienced as well. Horses tend to do well. Now, Goal Oriented, though, Goal Oriented is basically a speed horse. As you can see here, they actually list the style, so a pace setter. So he's a speed horse, so that's and so is Clever again to some extent. But in American Promise, I guess too. Although I don't know if I really totally agree with that. Listening to what the experts say about this, but I am by no means an expert. But Goal Oriented is basically the like pure speed horse in this race, and I don't know if this is going to be a speed race. And in the Kentucky Derby, it wasn't. And what we saw was the speed horses were on both sides, and kind of what I thought was going to happen is because right on the rail and on the complete opposite side. Those horses had to get out in front like right away, and it meant that the opening, like the early fractions in the race were run at too fast a pace, which means that those horses are going to tire out too early, basically. And it does mean that the horses that are the closers and like the stalkers that sit like right behind the lead were able to like make that final push and win. And that is what you saw with Journalism and Sovereignty. We're both able to do that. They're both classified as Journalism is a stalker, Sovereignty, I don't know, kind of a stalker or a closer, I guess. It's kind of hard to determine which one of those you want to really classify them as. Journalism is indeed running in this race again at an 8-5. Goal-oriented, by the way, because goal-oriented is a speed horse, I think you're going to see him out to the lead early, but then fade later in the race would be my opinion on this race. Journalism is an 8-5 favorite, so you're really not getting great odds on Journalism, but I think the Journalism is likely to win this race. I mean, it's a short field. Journalism just has that real mix of like just pure speed and is able to still like make that final push at the end and not like overexert early, like not have too much speed early on. So you could see Journalism maybe like right behind these like fastest horses, like these pace-setting horses, I should say, right away, like earlier in the race, just sitting right back of the lead and then make a final push and win. I see is probably how this race is going to go. So I do think Journalism probably will win this race. So if you're going to play like trifectas, exactas, I think you got to have Journalism in there and probably at the top of the ticket. American Promise at 15-1. I think there is some value in American Promise, even though American Promise is listed as a pace setter here. I'm not quite sure that's accurate. But I think just the value is there on American Promise because American Promise was a kind of trendy horse in the Kentucky Derby. I think just because kind of in the name, but there were some professionals that liked him too because they said he was going to do well in the mud, and that didn't happen. But American Promise got like bumped by another horse right out of the gate and then tried to make a move. I think had to make a move to the rail and then was kind of in there in the pack and then just, I think, tried to make a move between two horses, and I think the two horses came in on him, and the jockey had to check the horse, and I think that was like it for American Promise. So American Promise finished really badly in the race. So I think the public is not going to be on American Promise again after a really bad Kentucky Derby showing, but I actually like this because I think once the race was over, the jockey, I don't know if it was Juarez or if there was another jockey on American Promise in the Derby, but I think what that means is that American Promise looked worse than he is in that race because of just the way the race got run. American Promise was in that race until that final kind of collision happened there. But American Promise also, once that happened, when they knew they weren't going to be able to win the race, they just kind of fell back and just didn't exert the horse anymore. So I think that means this horse is going to be more likely ready to go, 2 weeks. You don't really want a horse that really did exert themselves. So that's maybe the one drawback with Journalism is that they did exert to try to win the Kentucky Derby there, but Journalism's just so good. I still think probably will be the winner of this race, but American Promise, I think you're getting decent odds because of the Kentucky Derby showing, which I think is a little bit misleading. And because I think they let the horse kind of just not overexert himself like in the later part of that race. I think American Promise might be a way to look here. Heart of Honor, I don't know a whole lot about Heart of Honor, sitting at 12-1, listed as a stalker. So a horse that's going to sit right back at the lead, but like similar style to Journalism, but just Journalism is better. So I don't know. I don't really see it. Pay Billy, I think, is just a horse that's just running a lot of races and just probably we've seen the best that we're going to get out of Pay Billy. So I don't think we're going to get like a peak performance here out of Pay Billy. I think we've already seen that peak, which is why Pay Billy is sitting at a 20-1. Don't think we're going to really see a whole lot out of that horse. River Thames, which is a Todd Pletcher horse who does do well with those horses, made a name for himself as a horse trainer there. River Thames could be in line for a decent race here. And I think the thing about River Thames is that his owner, I think, decided to not run him in the Kentucky Derby because they felt that this was the race that they wanted to actually target. Like, because if you want to win one of the Triple Crown races and just not go after the other ones, some owners will do that and say, this is the race we're going to focus on. This is the race where we think it's like the best like style of race for our horse. I think that's what's going on with River Thames sitting at 9-2. So I actually think River Thames, if you're going to play, trifectas, exactas, whatever, I think you got to throw River Thames in there because the horse basically, like, they've been targeting this race for that horse, and I think that horse still has, like, some like, I don't think we've seen the best out of that horse yet either. So I think that River Thames might be a decent way to look in this race. Sandman, I mean, is just too public, I think. 4-1. I think Sandman was too public in the Kentucky Derby as well, just because of the Enter Sandman thing and all the social media presence behind Sandman. I just think you're not getting great odds. Yes, Sandman is a closer, so Sandman is going to have to try to close the gap later, but I don't know if this is really going to be a closer race, man. I think the stalker type of horse might actually wind up doing better here, although River Thames is listed as a pace setter, being one of the fastest horses, but I don't know. As you can see, by the way, this is their best buyer speed here, which is how they measure the best speed here. So Journalism had the fastest. Clever Again, we'll talk about in a second, had the second fastest. River Thames is right there as having one of the fastest paces as well. And American Promise, not bad either. Heart of Honor, I guess, isn't even listed there, so I don't know what we're going to... I think Heart of Honor is actually really new, so it's like total wild card there. Sandman, definitely a fast horse, but I think that there might be too much ground to make up for Sandman later in this race if this race is not run as fast early in the race as the Kentucky Derby was. It's going to be tough for the closers to close the gap, and I just don't like the odds on Sandman that much, so I don't like it. Clever Again, I think Clever Again, probably you want to throw in your exotics, man, because this horse, if you have trifectas, exactas, whatever, I think you want to put Clever Again in those as well. Sitting at 5-1, and this horse I don't think has had that many races, and probably have not seen the best out of this horse yet. And that horse, again, has a buyer speed rate, best buyer speed, just shy of what Journalism has done, so that's a pretty good mark. This is a very fast horse. Yes, the horse is listed as being one of the speed horses, but again, in this race, I think the speed horses might actually do okay because I don't think it's going to be one of those races where it's just run too fast early on. And then Goscher, whatever, I think named after a baseball player or something. I mean, this is a horse I don't really think you're going to get a whole lot out of this horse, to be honest. At 20-1, I just don't even know what we're really going to see out of this horse. Listed as a horse that's going to just be right behind the front of the pack, but a horse that really is not put in really any buyer speed rate that's very notable. Neither is Pay Billy, so that's why those horses are at 20-1. I would not go anywhere near those. So I think if you're going to do exactas, trifectas, I think you want to probably put Journalism at the top. I would actually probably say maybe Clever Again second, River Thames third, and American Promise fourth as kind of like a long shot. And then I would say Goal Oriented probably fifth, just because the speed horses might do okay, and that is a decent speed horse there. So that's kind of the way I would look. Those are my thoughts on the Preakness. So do with that what you will. Kentucky Derby, I did have some trifectas and exactas, and I wound up winning about what I win on a normal bet. So I might do it again in the Preakness. We'll see. But if you want to do it, I'm not going to give out my specific bets here just because I haven't really thought it through yet. But if you want to do it that way, with the exactas, trifectas, whatever, you could do boxes, which means that any combination works, but you get lower odds on those. So you could say, I want a box trifecta with Journalism, Clever Again, and River Thames, and then they have to finish top three, all of them do, but they can finish in any order and you'll win that bet. Whereas if you go with and exactas is the same thing, but with two horses, and if you go with the straight exactas and trifectas, you have to get the order right. So in those, you can do a bunch of combinations in one ticket. So you can say, I want Journalism as the first horse, and then I want all three of these other horses as the second horse. If it's an exacta, something like that, or you can mix and match these combinations. So you do want to have your best horse. You do want to put them in the one spot in one. You probably want to put them in the two spot in another, something like that. So, and then kind of throw all the other horses in the other spot in that, and then you could try to mix and match and hope that you'll win one of those two big tickets basically. And if you do that, you'll probably win money. So that's kind of the way to think about it. And with horse racing, remember, it's pari-mutuel wagering, so you're not really betting against the sports books, even though the odds on the horse do factor in, and you're going to make more money if a horse with better odds, with lesser odds, higher odds, does make your ticket and hit. But you are actually betting against the other people that are in the pool of money. So that's kind of how the prize pool is determined. You're betting against other people. So if you do better than they do, and your tickets hit, you're going to win more money, basically. So that's the way that it works there. Andrew, what's up, man? Thank you. NDS, what's up? Is this David or Top? I don't even know. What's up, guys? Zach, a new face, I think. I apologize if you've been in the chat before, man. I don't remember your name, but thanks, Zach, for hanging out. Let's go. Let's talk about Major League Baseball here now, man, and then I'll finish it out. And of course, most of my plays are going to be on Major League Baseball here, and I got to kind of remind myself what my plays are. I go through every play, man. So let's see. New York. I mean, we're in the rivalry series here, as I pointed out yesterday. The New York rivalry. The Yankees took game one, unfortunately for me. I had that game wrong. I apologize, but this game, I apologize for being slow too. I don't even mean retired at this time. I mean slow as in I'm slow to enter these in my as the banners here. I'm gonna go over in this game between the Mets and the Yankees, man. Even though I know we're taking a little bit of a risk, especially fading Griffin Canning, because he's shockingly been pitching quite well with a 2.36 ERA for the Mets. The Mets basically said that they fixed his mechanics because he was absolutely abysmal last year, man. He was terrible when he was on the Angels, so I liked fading him last year, but still, I think there are some signs that maybe he's not quite as good as he looks because of that 1.26 whip, not looking that great. And he does have a 42 to 16 strikeout walk ratio, though, so that is good. Fewer than one hit per inning. I mean, those numbers are all pretty good, and I do worry that he is coming off two good performances, one-run performances with nice strikeout rate, strikeout to walk ratio, 11 to 2 across 11 innings against two really good hitting lineups in Arizona and the Cubs. So that does worry me because that actually tells me he's in really good form right now. Problem is, he is having to go on the road here, right? I think he is a little bit worse on the road. As we can see here, he's 1.71 ERA at home this year and a 3 ERA on the road, which I know is still good, but there is still a fairly significant difference between his home and away. But up against the New York Yankees specifically, even though, yes, I know he's changed his mechanics, so maybe he'll do better, but the Yankees have given him a lot of problems. In 36 at-bats, he has an 11 to 10 strikeout walk ratio against him, a 330 average allowed, and 1,006 OPS. So Canning, I still think that he's fade material, man, to be honest. And I think this is a matchup where the offense has good enough numbers that we're going to fade him. And then Clark Schmidt is another guy who I don't think is really that good. 4.73 ERA, 1.28 whip, just kind of mediocre numbers really across the board. Yeah, I mean, he's coming off a couple of good starts as well. One was in a pitcher-friendly park against Seattle. One was a pretty impressive start against a good San Diego lineup, so I will give him credit for that. But he is walking too many guys. I mean, his strikeout walk rate is not good, or ratio is not good. 25 to 12, 22 hits in 26 and two-thirds innings pitched is pretty good, but he's not going particularly deep into a lot of these games, though they've started ramping him up a little bit, and he's gone 6 in those last 2, but I still think his walk rate is a concern, and against the Mets, his numbers have not been good. In 17 at-bats, 3 walks, no strikeouts, 353 average, 1,038 OPS. So both pitchers, I think, are potentially not very good matchups in this one, and we've seen the total go up from 9 juice to the over to 9.5 juice to the over. Unfortunately, we missed the 9, although you're having to pay juice on the over 9 anyway, because as I point out, 9 is a key number in baseball because that's how you break the 4-4 tie. We have to go over the 9.5 here, but I think that's okay. And again, we do have 2 good offenses here. Yes, we have a couple of good bullpens, but the bullpens saw use yesterday, especially on the Yankees side. They used their bullpen quite a bit. So I think the bullpens might be in line to maybe give up something in this game. The offenses both can do damage. And with a total of 9.5, man, the books are kind of telling you something. Like, it's a fairly high total. So the books are not just going to throw a total out there if they expect this game to be like a pitcher's duel, basically. So there is a reason why the total is that high. I haven't looked at the weather to see if there's also like wind blowing out or something in the Bronx, but either way, I like this over. 71% of tickets, 97% of the cash coming in the over, so it looks like the market is pretty much in agreement with it, so we're going to go over in that game. The Chicago game, there's not a whole lot to say here. I mean, the Cubs are a massive favorite. I think they won pretty easily yesterday. I don't think there's really a whole lot that you can do with this game. And they won basically on bad fielding, which is unfortunate for Shane Smith, who is a White Sox pitcher who I like. He actually pitched well in the game yesterday, and he gave up, I think, 5 unearned runs. So the defense really did not help out the White Sox yesterday. Now Sean Burke is pitching for the White Sox. He hasn't been very good. 4.15 ERA looks pretty serviceable. 1.41 whip isn't good. Cubs haven't seen him before, but still, I mean, I don't want to have any money on Burke, man. Matthew Boyd, decent numbers. 2.78 ERA is more than decent, but a 1.3 whip is not terrific. He has been pitching really well in the month of May, though, with 2 6-inning performances against San Francisco and against the Mets, which are not really easy draws. And he had a 15-0 strikeout walk ratio and only allowed 4 earned runs across those 12 innings. So he is most certainly in good form right now. He is definitely commanding his pitches right now. Overall, 45-13 strikeout walk ratio is good. But Boyd, yeah, I mean, can we trust him here? I mean, maybe against the White Sox. I mean, they have a pretty bad lineup. In 33 at-bats, he's had 16 strikeouts to 1 walk, 242 average, 659 OPS. So, yeah, Boyd, I mean, you're going to get the better pitcher in the better form by looking towards Boyd here, but I don't think you can lay a price like this on a very public Cubs team against an awful Chicago White Sox team. And the total in this game being high probably indicates the wind is blowing out again, just like it was yesterday in that Chicago game. But I think that if you listen to me, because I said I liked the under in that game, and both starting pitchers actually did pretty well in that game, and I think the under kind of got screwed in that game by all the bad fielding. So, but the wind was blowing out in that game yesterday. Detroit and Toronto, hard to gauge this game because Toronto has not decided on a starting pitcher yet. We don't know what it's going to be. I don't know if they're going to call somebody up or if they're going to bring somebody in out of the bullpen and go with the bullpen game. Reese Olson will be getting the start for the Tigers. Pitching decently, 3.38 ERA, 1.29 whip is a little bit higher than what I would like. Not going really deep into these outings, though, man, so that's kind of a concern for him. But overall, 45-18 strikeout walk ratio is pretty good, even though the walk number is a bit high. Has allowed fewer than 1 hit per inning, which is pretty good. Against the Blue Jays, he's been quite good in 22 at-bats, .091 average and 258 OPS. So he has really been really good against Toronto's hitters, but he has only struck one of them out and walked 2. So that's really a pretty bad ratio. So really with Reese Olson, you got to be worried about how wild he is. But, I mean, he does have good matchup numbers overall against Toronto, so he might be a way to look in this game. But we don't know who Toronto's going to be pitching yet. And Detroit, you're having to lay a price on the road, so I'm just going to stay away. Washington and Baltimore, I am going to make a play on this, and it is going to be a money line play on Washington in the first 5 innings at plus 120. And yes, you can get a better money line if you want to play Washington full game. You can probably get about plus 140 on it, but I don't want to do that because, as you know, I hate Washington's bullpen. Yes, their bullpen has been pitching better recently, but they're still putting up really bad overall numbers, and I expect some regression again out of them because I don't think they're probably not as bad as they were up to this point in the season, but they're probably also not as good as they've been the last few games. Like recently, they've been pretty good, but they also used a lot of their relief pitchers yesterday. So I don't want anything to do with Washington's bullpen because they're bad. They were used up yesterday. I'm only focusing on the starting pitching matchup here. And yes, it's a sad situation for the Baltimore Orioles, man, as they keep losing, but I don't think it's going to get better here. In this starting pitching matchup, we're getting the much better pitcher with Washington, with Jake Irvin, 4 ERA, 1.19 whip. I mean, those are decent stats. I know his strikeout walk ratio is definitely a problem, so we do have to worry about that. In 11 innings, 11 and a third this month, he's allowed 11 hits, 5 earned runs, which isn't that bad. He's allowed 2 and 3 earned runs in those starts. That's not really that bad. The real problem is 5 walks to 1 strikeout. I mean, he's got to get that under control. So there are some numbers that really don't look good for him. Overall, 34-16 strikeout walk ratio. So he really just doesn't strike a lot of guys out. His walk numbers recently have been bad. Giving up 10 home runs, I understand all of that looks pretty bad, but he's not that hittable. He's allowed fewer hits than innings pitched, so he does tend to limit the damage. He's only allowed more than 4 earned runs in 1 start this season, which was at Philadelphia, which is a difficult draw. And he still went 6 innings in that game. Against the Orioles, he's done pretty well in 31 at-bats. He has a good strikeout walk ratio, 7-1, 258 average, and a very low 539 OPS against them. So, or quite low, I should say. So Irvin does have good numbers. And then, I mean, look at what we're fading on the other side, man. Kyle Gibson, I mean, this guy, I think he's kind of at the end of his rope, man. I mean, this Baltimore starting rotation is just horrendous. I mean, you got a couple of guys, Gibson, Morton, I think has already been demoted to the bullpen. I mean, those guys, they're looking like they're going to have to retire. I mean, Kyle Gibson with a 13.11 ERA, 2.49 whip. I mean, none of that is good. He hasn't gone more than 4 innings in any of his 3 starts so far. Hasn't allowed fewer than 3 earned runs in any of them. 9-6 strikeout walk ratio. 23 hits allowed in 11 2/3, and 7 home runs. Are you kidding me? Even though he allowed 5 home runs in that one worst outing against the Yankees, but still, he's allowed a home run in every start, and he's allowing almost a home run an inning, basically, which is an unbelievable stat. I mean, obviously that's unsustainable, but still absolutely ridiculous. I mean, he is just an ineffective pitcher. A 2.49 whip is pretty unbelievable. And yeah, again, it is unsustainable, but the Nationals have actually done really well against him in 62 at-bats, 12-7 strikeout walk ratio, 371 average, 999 OPS. So none of these numbers are good, and it's in a pretty substantial sample size. Gibson has not done well, and if you're a player prop guy, Nathaniel Lowe, 5 for 9 with 3 home runs, 1 walk, and no strikeouts against Gibson. So I think Gibson's going to get lit up in this game. I'll go the first 5 innings on the Washington Nationals here. Washington Nationals, and expect Irvin to win out in that pitching matchup against the atrocious Kyle Gibson. Tampa, Miami. I think Miami won yesterday in the first game of the series, and I would slightly lean to Tampa in this game with Rasmussen on the mound, but I think he is a little bit of a question mark, although his numbers are good overall this season. 3.38 ERA, 1.05 whip. He is not in the greatest form, having allowed 2 home runs in each of his last 2 starts, going 5 or fewer innings in both those starts. Granted, they were against good offenses. He's faced a bunch of good offenses recently, actually. Yankees, Arizona, Philly, Milwaukee. Not going deep into games, but he is at the very least keeping his team in games, not allowing more than 4 earned runs in any start, which was that tough road start against Arizona. Overall, pretty good numbers, actually. 35-10 strikeout walk ratio is a good ratio. Fewer than 1 hit per inning. He's doing pretty well. Against Miami, they've basically never seen him. They're 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts against him. Hill 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. So Miami basically is unfamiliar with Rasmussen, and the guys that have seen him have not done well against him. So I do think Rasmussen does have the upper hand because, very unfortunately, Sandy Alcantara, who was, I think, in the Cy Young race a few years back, has just never returned from his injury and surgery, man, which is very unfortunate because he's been a really good pitcher throughout a lot of his career. But this year, 8.1 ERA, 1.64 whip. I mean, that is just bad, and he's not really been improving either. I mean, just overall bad numbers. 31-21 strikeout walk ratio is really bad. More than 1 hit per inning as well, and 7 home runs allowed. Just putting way too many men on base overall. And Tampa's done well against him, even though only 3 guys have seen him before. All these guys named Lowe, man. Brandon Lowe, Josh Lowe. I think I just talked about Nathaniel Lowe. All the Lows. You could go low today. You could play every low as a hitter prop. Hits plus runs plus RBIs. Brandon Lowe specifically, though, is 6 for 15 with 4 doubles and a 2.2 strikeout walk ratio against Alcantara. He just hasn't done well against the Rays in 31 at-bats. 2-2 strikeout walk ratio, which is all from Brandon Lowe. 323 average, 884 OPS. So I do think Rasmussen is going to have the upper hand here as the better pitcher. The money is coming in on Tampa, up from -125 to -148. You're laying a bit of a road price for them now, though. 82% of tickets, 98% of the cash. But I do think Tampa is kind of the only way to play this game if you do want to play it. I just think the price is a little bit too much, and there are a few question marks in there. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. We got the win on Philly yesterday. Philly would be the only way I would look in this game as well with a run line. But to play the -1.5 run line, you probably have to go up to almost -150 to do this one, as they're almost a -300 favorite now, sitting at like -285. I think the money is actually coming in on Philadelphia, though. Up from -270, -275. 95% of tickets, 99% of the cash. Yes, they're going to be public, but I mean, this looks like a complete mismatch to me. I mean, Pittsburgh used a lot of their bullpen yesterday. Their bullpen stinks, even though Philadelphia's bullpen isn't good either. But Philadelphia has the way better offense. They got the way better starter. And I think they have the bullpen rest advantage as Suarez went deeper into the game yesterday than Heaney did, I believe. Lodzinski is pitching for the Pirates. He has just not been good. 5.2 ERA, 1.54 whip. 26-11 strikeout walk ratio isn't that bad, but 45 hits allowed in 36 1/3. Pretty bad. He's just not really doing that well. Not really going deep into games. I mean, for the most part, he is kind of limiting the damage and kind of spreading it all out. So he's kind of keeping his team in games, and they have won some of the games that he started, but not great. And against Philly, he does poorly in a small sample size of 17 at-bats. Does have a 7-1 strikeout walk ratio, which is good, but a 353 average allowed, 801 OPS, so that's not good. And Zach Wheeler is on the other side for Philadelphia. I mean, he's their ace right now, 2.95 ERA, 0.91 whip. I mean, he's still their ace, I should say, and he's in really good form this month. 17-2 strikeout walk ratio, only 2 earned runs allowed in 14 innings. Granted, it was against Tampa and Cleveland, who don't hit that well, and he's only allowed 7 hits in those 14 innings as well. But he's just been good throughout the season, man. He's only allowed more than 2 earned runs in 2 starts this entire season. 74-11 strikeout walk ratio is crazy. A very high strikeout rate. Well over 1 per inning. Well below 1 hit allowed per inning. I don't need to say that much, really. I mean, he's just been a dominant pitcher this year. 77 at-bats, and it hasn't really changed from the previous seasons either. 77 at-bats. Against Pittsburgh, 28-8 strikeout walk ratio has held him to a 195 average, 621 OPS. So the only way that I think you could look is to play Philadelphia in some way in this game, and maybe Pittsburgh under their team total might be the way to look, because Wheeler probably will come out and shut them down. That might be the way that I would look in this game. Again, it's really tough to do anything with Philly when they're priced like this, so finding other ways to try to play the game there makes a lot of sense. Maybe Philly's bats to get the job done as well. Playing Philly over their team total might make sense as well. Cleveland and Cincinnati. Slade Ciccone is making his return to the majors after I think he's been injured, and he's now on a new team on Cleveland as he was on Arizona to start his career. And he had one decent, like really short season where he only had 4 starts. I think he put up decent numbers, good numbers really. But then last year he had a more full season, and he did kind of struggle a bunch last season. So I don't know what we're going to get out of Ciccone here. And at Great American Ballpark is not an easy draw. Usually I like to say, well, when these pitchers are coming back from being injured, they're ready to go, they're pumped up, they're going to pitch well. But with a guy as young as Ciccone, I don't know that it's going to be the same as like a veteran doing it. And again, it's a tough draw at this hitter-friendly ballpark in Cincinnati. And also, if we look at his batter versus pitcher stats against Cincinnati, they did see him before when he was on Arizona. And in 35 at-bats, they have a 286 average and 799 OPS off him. So he hasn't shut him down. They've hit decently against him. So I don't like this for Ciccone. So there's no way that I can come in and jump on his side in this game. And then on the Cincinnati Reds side, Brent Suter. He's an older guy, and he's going to come out of the bullpen. Yes, his numbers are good, 2.08 ERA, 2.08 ERA, excuse me, 0.92 whip. But his numbers are as a reliever. So he's going to be coming out of the bullpen to make an opener start, I think. So we're going to get maybe 1 to 2 innings out of him. I would guess maybe slightly more than that, depending on matchups and how it goes. So he'll be out of the game, and the Reds will turn it over to their bullpen at some point. So it's a very dicey situation. The total's sitting at 9.5, and it is probably that high for a reason. And over might make sense here, but sometimes these bullpen games could be a little bit deceptive, man. And the bullpens can actually do better than you think and mix and match well against the opposing hitters. But in this case, I don't really know. I mean, Cincinnati doesn't have the greatest bullpen, so neither starter really trustworthy here. I mean, I think the over kind of makes sense in that game. Not going to be a play for me at all, but the total actually has dropped a little bit. It's juiced under 10 very heavily here, but we just see 90% of tickets, 95% of the cash on the over. I don't know what we're really going to get out of that game. We will see. And then we got, let's see, what else do we have here? Houston, Texas, Ronel Blanco, Tyler Mahle. I mean, this actually looks like it might become a pitching duel here. Blanco, 1.16 whip indicates that his ERA probably should be a bit lower at 4.04. It's a little bit high. He's in good form this month. In 14 innings, he's only allowed 9 hits, 3 earned runs, 17-3 strikeout walk ratio. He's coming off shutting out Cincinnati for 8 innings, allowing only 2 hits and striking out 11. So he's coming off a great performance. And I don't really think he's going to regress that much, really. I mean, I don't expect him to have a great start like that again in this one, but as far as regression, I think the regression might be a little bit limited here. I think he's in good form. He still might pitch well here. He's only allowed more than 3 earned runs in 1 start this season. although his walk numbers overall are pretty high, 43-17 strikeout walk ratio. Very high walk rate, really. He doesn't allow many hits, 32 hits and 42 and a third. But he is wild. He walks too many guys, so that would be my concern with Blanco. And against Texas, even though their offense hasn't been hitting that well, his numbers against them are somewhat mediocre. In 65 at-bats, 15-9 strikeout walk ratio, 246 average allowed is good, but a 769 OPS is in the higher range because he has allowed 3 home runs to them and 9 walks, like I said, and 3 doubles. So when they hit him, they actually do hit him fairly well. So I don't love Blanco here. Tyler Mahle is surprising everybody, man. I mean, a guy, when he's at the age of 30, doesn't usually have this much of a resurgence with a .96 whip, 1.47 ERA. I expect that we're going to get some regression from him at some point. I mean, a 37-16 strikeout walk ratio isn't that great. 31 hits allowed in 49 innings is really good. So he's limiting the hits quite a bit. Only allowed 2 home runs as well. So he's really keeping the ball in the park. But he's been a little bit wild. He doesn't really come in and blow guys away. He hasn't been striking out a lot of guys. So that strikeout walk ratio kind of indicates that his numbers are a little bit deceiving. I mean, he's coming off an easy performance kind of at home against a weak Colorado lineup. Games before that, he pitched fairly well against the Red Sox, so they didn't strike out anybody in that game. And against the A's, who can hit a little bit. So he's definitely been decent this year. He's faced some pretty good lineups. And against Houston, he's been pretty good in 46 career at-bats. 8-4 strikeout walk ratio is not that great, but 3 of the walks are Christian Walker. Go figure. What a name, man. Walker has the most walks against Mahle. 217 average allowed and 584 OPS from Mahle allowed against Houston's batter. So he has done really well against them. So again, I do think an under would kind of be a lean in this game. I'm not going to get there with it. We do have 64% of tickets and 63% of the cash on the over, so the over's a little bit public. I would agree with the under. Both teams have pretty decent bullpens, although I don't know how significant their usage was in yesterday's game. Total up a little bit from 8 juice to the over to 8 juice a little bit further to the over. Next game up, I am going to have a play on against my Boston Red Sox, which let me just make sure that I know exactly what the play is here. I forget, did I play full game on this one? I don't even remember. What did I do? Or did I go first 5? Let me look. I think I went full game on this because I just don't like the Red Sox bullpen either. It's going to be a full game play, I believe, on the Atlanta Braves. Yeah, and you can get them at even money. Even though, yes, I know Grant Holmes has been pretty bad on the road, so that is a concern that Holmes has been significantly better at home. Holmes, the homeboy, much better at home. But I like this matchup, man. I mean, the Red Sox are just on a slide right now. And yes, they aren't a good situational setup. Is usually when a team returns home from a road trip, and if they don't play well in the first game, they play better in the second game. But that was a big focus spot, I think. So I don't think that the Red Sox just didn't show up in that game. I mean, they were facing Chris Sale in that game. That was Sale against Crochet. So you know that's a big game there. And the Red Sox bullpen kind of hurt them in the game. Crochet pitched pretty well, but, I mean, there's only so much you can really do if you're Crochet. And we're getting a much worse starter for the Red Sox here. And the Red Sox used a lot of their bullpen in this game. And their bullpen hasn't been that great anyway. But you can see here they used 4 relievers. Braves only used 2, although granted, they did use Iglesias, their closer, but he's got a 5.89 ERA, and he gave up a run yesterday. So I don't even know if you want him entering a game, to be honest. So I think it sets up decently for Atlanta here. Grant Holmes does have decent numbers overall, 1.18 whip, 4.1 ERA, and he's got a decent hairstyle here, man. You got to I always pointed out, I don't know if I would call it a mullet, like a curly mullet maybe. You got to like the style, man. Kind of looking like Rod Beck out there. He looks like a guy who's going to swill some beer, chew some tobacco, and then take the mound. He had a good start in his last start against Washington. Granted, they can't hit that well. But overall, he's been pretty good. He's only allowed more than 4 earned runs in 1 start. He's definitely been limiting the damage, although his walk rate is high, but he hasn't allowed a lot of hits. He's allowed too many home runs, 9, which is definitely a concern. It is a concern in Fenway Park, which is a home run park, but he did allow 3 at Arizona, although Arizona is a hitter-friendly park as well, so it's possible that he gives up the long ball here, but the Red Sox haven't exactly been hitting the cover off the ball recently or really this season. He's allowed 33 hits and 45 2/3, so that is quite good. That's kind of limiting the damage that his wildness is doing because a 44-21 strikeout walk ratio isn't exactly good, But the Red Sox have never seen him before. And you get a guy like Holmes, a lot of times the hitters won't be able to adjust right away to a starting pitcher like this, and they won't be able to figure him out that quickly. So that might happen there. And Giolito on the other side, new acquisition for the Red Sox. Not doing well, really. I mean, he's had 2 good starts and 1 bad start, though. The 1 bad start was against a weak Texas lineup, though. So actually, after Toronto, Texas, Kansas City, I think he's actually kind of stepping up in class to face the Braves here, as the Braves are actually the most difficult lineup that he'll face so far. And by the way, that Texas, the 1 bad start that he had against Texas was his only home start of the season. So his good starts are both on the road so far. I mean, it's a small sample size, but not good, considering that he's pitching in Fenway here. His 1 other start in Fenway this year was miserable. 6 earned runs allowed, 10 hits allowed in 3 2/3 innings. Only a 2-to-1 strikeout walk ratio. That's not good. 14-4 strikeout walk ratio overall is pretty good. But he's allowed way too many runs, more than 1 hit per inning. None of that is really good. 1.29 whip is way too high. 5.51 ERA, too high. And against the Braves, they've seen a decent amount of him. 40 at-bats where he's actually allowed 4 home runs to them, although 3 of them are Matt Olson. So again, player prop alert. Matt Olson, 5 for 10 off him with 3 home runs, 2 strikeouts. But overall, 375 average, allowed him 1,145 OPS allowed. So I'm fine with fading Giolito here, and that is what I'm going to do. We do see, it looks like the cash percentage is on the Red Sox for now, but I don't know if it's going to still be that way come tonight by the time the game starts, because we've seen the money line drop a little bit from -118 down to -113. 50% of the tickets evenly split right now with 52% of the cash on Boston, but I saw more of the cash on Boston earlier, so I think that is kind of moving a little bit. And again, I think the matchup is in favor of Atlanta here, even though it is a decent bounce-back spot normally. When a team doesn't do well in their home return, they do tend to do better in the second game. But I think that was a big get-up spot, man, for the Red Sox, and they lost that game. So I think that situation kind of gets thrown out the window a little bit here. And with a game like this, where you think Atlanta has certain advantages, and like especially the matchup advantage here, and they're getting like an underdog price, I think that there is value in making that play. All right, what else we got? Let's try to finish this off here. Long video, but I think I've been actually pretty efficient getting all this done, including WNBA and Preakness in an hour, even though we only talked about 1 WNBA game. All right, let's go to... Oh, we only have a few games left. Let's finish it off. Minnesota, Milwaukee. Pablo Lopez pitching for Minnesota. Good pitcher, man. I like Pablo Lopez. 2.77 ERA, 0.97 whip. He is a good pitcher to play on in a lot of situations. 43-7 strikeout walk ratio. Really nice numbers here this season so far. 39 innings pitched with 31 hits allowed. So he's allowed fewer than 1 hit per inning, more than 1 strikeout per inning. Low walk rate. Only allowed 3 home runs. Nothing to hate about any of his numbers here, man. He has been pitching well. He hasn't really faced any really, really good lineups yet, though. So Milwaukee here is actually probably the best offense that he'll have faced so far this season. So that is a little bit of a concern that he's stepping up in class. He's in decent form recently, even though he did give up 4 runs to San Francisco. The last time out, he still did go 6 innings and have a 6.2 strikeout walk ratio. And the 2 starts this month, 17-3 strikeout walk ratio. It does mean that he is still in good form and he's had good command. But against the Brewers, I'd be a little bit concerned because in 50 at-bats against them, he's allowed a 14-6 strikeout walk ratio, 280 average, and 857 OPS. So his numbers are not exactly good against the Brewers. And Tobias Myers, on the other hand, I mean, for Milwaukee, he's a young pitcher who I like. I liked playing him last year. He had a pretty decent season last year, pitching a decent chunk of the season last year. 3.86 ERA is decent again this year, but a 1.53 whip is really bad. I mean, he's putting way too many men on base, and a lot of it is the walk. He's only got 16 1/3 innings so far, so it is a small sample size so far, but a lot of it is because he's not going deep into games. He's only gone more than 4 innings in 1 start against Houston, so he has not been pitching well. 11-10 strikeout walk ratio, 7 runs allowed. I mean, the runs aren't that bad. As I showed you, the ERA is not that bad, but his walk numbers really, really alarmingly high, especially given that his whip was actually good last season. So do I expect him to improve and start turning this around again? Yes, I do. But I don't know that it's going to be here, although the Twins lineup isn't that great. And against the Twins, They only have 8 at-bats against him ever, a 2.2 strikeout walk ratio, but a 125 average overall with only 1 hit from Ty France, who also has both walks as well, 425 OPS. So I think Myers does have a little bit of an advantage there just because the opposing lineup hasn't seen him before. So I'm going to stay away from the game. I mean, it is possible we do see some advantages on the Brewers side there, but Minnesota, they're on this ridiculous hot streak where they've won, 10, 11 games in a row, now 12 games in a row. Go figure, man. And they got another good pitcher on the mound, at least today. So I don't really want to step in front of that train unless there's a really good reason to do so. And I'm not really jumping out of my seat to ever really fade Pablo Lopez. So I'm going to leave the game alone. Lopez definitely the more proven pitcher over Myers, which is, I think, why you see the money coming in on the Minnesota side. 54% of tickets, 67% of the cash. They're up from -112 to -116. Money also is on the unders. It's gone from 8 juice to the under to 7.5. A very low total here. 80% of tickets on the over, but 97% of the cash on the under. So the odds makers and the market read are definitely telling you they're expecting a lower scoring game here. And I don't disagree with it if Myers can somehow figure it out, but that's the problem. Myers is a total wild card, and Pablo Lopez has bad matchup numbers against Milwaukee, so I just think that it's really difficult to get involved in that game, for me at least. Colorado and Arizona, I mean, if you want to do anything with this game, you got to find some exotic markets to kind of look for here because so basically at least not playing the side in this game because, I mean, you're looking at Arizona being a -350 favorite. That's how bad Colorado is. It's ridiculous. I mean, Herman Marquez pitching for Colorado, terrible numbers, 1.7 whip, 8.27 ERA. I mean, to me, it seems like they should just find somebody else at this point. 20-13 strikeout walk ratio, awful. 50 hits allowed in 37 innings is awful. He's coming off a nice performance where he went 7 innings, allowing 1 earned run in Coors Field against a good hitting San Diego lineup. Pretty surprising that happened, although I think he actually had good matchup numbers against San Diego for whatever reason. But he also actually has good matchup numbers against Arizona. Well, I don't want to say good, but decent. In 105 at-bats, he's held him to a 229 average, so that is good. But 23-12 strikeout walk ratio is a bit bad. I mean, that's too many walks. Ketel Marte has really good numbers against him. 42 at-bats, 12 for 42. 2 home runs in 5 walks, 8 RBIs as well, to 7 strikeouts. Some pretty decent numbers from Marte against them. But overall, 774 OPS allowed to the D-backs hitters. That's a high OPS. So even though the batting average is low, the OPS, I think, is a little bit of a better indicator, and that is definitely too high. Zach Gallen, on the other hand, is a decent pitcher. I think he's better than his numbers look so far this year. 4.59 ERA, 1.31 whip. He is definitely struggling. He's going to have to put it together. He did just put together a couple of decent performances before losing to a pretty good hitting Dodgers team. Pitched pretty well in 2 straight games against another good hitting team, the Mets. So showing signs of life here from Gallen, but his walk rate is a concern. 54-23 strikeout walk ratio. It's a good strikeout rate in 51 innings pitched and only 44 hits allowed. That's all good, but he's just too wild. He's walking too many people, and against Colorado, he does have good numbers, though. In 65 at-bats, 22-6 strikeout walk ratio, 231 average allowed, 634 OPS. So, yeah, I mean, I think Arizona still, I mean, obviously has, they have the edge here overall, but I think they still have the starting pitching edge there, but there's no way that I can come in and play that game. Seattle and San Diego, Emerson Hancock pitching for Seattle, just bad numbers this year. He's a young pitcher with good stuff, so he might turn it around at some point, but a 1.71 whip, 6.91 ERA, terrible numbers. No way that I can get involved with him. He's coming off a really rough start. Granted, it was against the Yankees, and a lot of guys get roughed up by the Yankees. Only that and his opening start really were bad. So if you throw those out, and a lot of times you can throw a guy's opening start out because it tends to be a little bit of an outlier. If you take those 2 starts out, he's not allowed more than 3 earned runs in any start. He's allowed 2 in 3 of the 4 starts. So that's actually not that bad. 22-11 strikeout walk ratio isn't that bad, but 38 hits allowed in 28 2/3 is a way too high hit rate, man. 6 home runs allowed isn't great either, although 3 of them were in that game against the Yankees. So I think we may see him do a little bit better than he did in that game against the Yankees. And up against the Padres, 13 at-bats of history there. A 1-2 strikeout walk ratio isn't good, but a 154 average and 497 OPS is pretty good. So Hancock actually did okay, basically, I guess, the other one time he faced San Diego. Nick Pivetta, on the other hand, and obviously he's the better and more proven pitcher here. There's no doubt about that. 3.05 ERA, 1.06 WHIP, and I don't really like to fade a guy who is the better pitcher, but a lot of times the matchup will kind of tell you that, well, there might be some reasons to do that. And Pivetta, he actually hasn't been good in his last 2 starts. Granted, they were at the Yankees and at Coors Field, so a lot of times you're going to see a guy struggle when they have to do when they have to pitch in hitter-friendly parks like that and against a good lineup like the Yankees. 10-6 strikeout walk ratio in those 2 games, though not good. 12 hits allowed in 9 innings, so he struggled in those 2 starts. So he is maybe starting to show some signs of regression, though, a little bit. And Seattle actually has good numbers off him in 85 at-bats. They actually have 10 home runs off of him. Arozarena and Raleigh both have 3 home runs each against them. So, again, you could look for player props there. And they both hit 400 off him as well. Raleigh 4 for 10 and Arozarena 10 for 25. Also, 4 walks for Arozarena. 28-9 strikeout walk ratio overall for Pivetta against Seattle. 294 average and 1,086 OPS. So Pivetta's numbers against these hitters are not great. So I think there are actually some reasons that there may actually be some value on playing Seattle. Maybe you could play the run line at plus 1.5 runs and you find a decent price there. I mean, if you play the money line on Seattle, obviously you're getting a big underdog price. So as we see San Diego actually up from minus 158 to minus 184, but they are really public with 92% of tickets and only 83% of the cash. So I think less of the money on San Diego. So it does look like kind of a value play there in Seattle, maybe kind of a sneaky matchup that isn't as lopsided towards San Diego as it looks at all based on what I just showed you. A's are facing San Francisco. I usually tend to look for teams that didn't play well in the previous game to bounce back a little bit, by the way, so that's another angle to kind of look for. San Francisco won easily yesterday, 9-1, so maybe a little bit of a bounce back spot for the A's. They got Luis Severino on the mound here as my tabs are going all over the place here. Severino, 4.7 ERA, 1.32 WHIP this season. He's not pitching that well. 40-19 strikeout walk ratio. I mean, he's not striking guys out anymore at this point. That ratio is not very good. 52 hits allowed in 53 2/3 is pretty good. So he hasn't allowed that many hits, not allowing that many home runs. Actually, he hasn't allowed a home run since April 7th. So he is keeping the long ball away. But even so, even without allowing any home runs, he allowed 12 runs over his last 2 starts against Seattle and the Yankees. Granted, again, the Yankees do have a really good offense that can just explode on you at any time. But a 7-6 strikeout walk ratio over those 2 starts is not good. Severino's not in good form, but he does have good numbers against the Giants in 58 at-bats, 16-7 strikeout walk ratio. So, again, the walk's kind of a problem, but a 138 average allowed, 449 OPS. So, Severino actually does have good matchup numbers against what am I doing here, man? Stop. I don't want to color code these tabs here. Come on. Ungroup it. Yeah, all right. I don't know. I accidentally grouped the tabs there in Firefox. Anyway. All right. So Severino does have good numbers against San Francisco. Landon Raup pitching for San Francisco. He's been struggling this season, man, even though I always point out he has nasty breaking pitches. I think he does have what it takes to pitch in the majors, but not going well for him this year. 4.95 ERA, 1.5 WHIP. Hasn't gone well for me playing on him in a couple of his starts as well, but he's kind of spread out the damage. Again, he hasn't allowed more than 4 earned runs in any start, so he's been serviceable. And his team did win 4 of his first 5 starts, but they've lost the last 3 games in a row that he started, although they were all on the road against 2 good, really, really good hitting lineups in San Diego and Chicago Cubs, and 1 not as great hitting lineup in Minnesota. But over those last 2 starts, he actually didn't walk anybody and had 7 strikeouts, so that's pretty good. Raup against the A's, they've never seen him before, so maybe he has a little bit of an edge there. So I could see maybe looking towards an under here, kind of a sneaky under, but it does look like the line is flipped otherwise, gone from 8 juice to the under to 8 juice to the over. And I think with Severino and Raup's bad numbers this season, it is a little bit risky to look towards the under here, so I will stay away. 90% of the tickets and 93% of the cash on the over, but I think all that tells you is the over is public. San Francisco up from minus 138 to minus 146, 58% of the tickets on San Francisco, but 73% of the cash, so the money looks like it is coming in on the San Francisco side. Don't know that I agree with that, because Severino, even though he's in terrible form, his numbers against the Giants are pretty good, so yeah, I mean, I just don't really Yeah, I wouldn't want to come in and try to agree. I'm not going to agree with the market signals in that one. I'm just going to stay away. And then my final play is I just have to do it, man. Yes, I'm going to come in and I'm going to play another -1.5 run line here. And at least you're playing on a Dodgers team that does have the ability to do that, even though the Dodgers are constantly overvalued. But I think this is a spot where we have to jump in on it. You can get Dodgers -1.5 on the run line at -122 right now. I mean, obviously, there's no way you want to pay -240 here. -122 to get the run line, I think is just good enough here. Even though I know, as I keep saying, if you're playing a -1.5 at home, they don't get that extra at bat in the ninth inning if they're already ahead. So that is slightly concerning, but still, I think it's really the only way to look at this game. I think this is a complete mismatch. I think the Dodgers should be able to get this done. Dodgers, like last year, they were really good at covering the -1.5 run line, man. It was like they either won by 2 or more runs or they lost the game outright. It hasn't really totally been the case this season, but that is kind of what they do. Dodgers are also in a bounce-back spot, man, so that's one thing we're looking for here. They were coming off a big divisional series against the Padres. Or excuse me, what am I saying? The Angels were coming off a big series against the Padres. What am I saying? What were the Dodgers coming off of? They were coming off of just hammering the A's in 2 straight games. So I think they might have been feeling pretty high on themselves after scoring 19 runs, scoring 28 runs in 2 games. And they lost to the Anaheim Angels here, man. So I think this is a big-time bounce-back spot. The Dodgers are going to be angry about that. The Dodgers have the better bullpen. Both bullpens didn't have that much usage yesterday. But also, Kohanowitz was just getting away with putting men on base yesterday, man. I mean, he still just walks too many guys, and he limited the damage a lot in yesterday's game. They turned 5 double plays yesterday, as you can see. So I think there is actually, I don't want to say value, but I think the Dodgers looked a lot worse yesterday than they actually are. I mean, they had so many chances to just crush Kohanowitz and knock him out of the game. 5 double plays is just ridiculous. Kohanowitz, again, I think he walked 4 guys in 6 2/3 and was just getting away with it. We can look at the box score here. So that's a really kind of a misleading result there. Even though, yes, the Dodgers did get out-hit in the game, but they had a lot of guys on base via the walk, and it did not wind up working out for them. I'm pretty sure it was 4 walks. We don't see it in the box score here, but for Kohanowitz, I don't know why did they not show the walks in the box score, man? Is it because I shrunk the screen, maybe? A mobile view, we hide walks, even though that's a key stat. Yeah, whatever. So the Angels did use a couple of their better well, not better relievers, but some of the back end of their pen, I guess. Some of their hold men, even though these guys have terrible ERAs with Neris and Zephyr, and then Jansen, their closer, also was used yesterday. His ERA sucks too, but Angels, even though they used guys with terrible ERAs, their bullpen is just terrible in general. So the Dodgers obviously have the better bullpen here. They obviously have the better lineup here. And the starting pitching matchup, I think, is bad as well. And again, the Dodgers are in a bounce-back mode, and they looked worse than they were yesterday. So everything sets up for the Dodgers here. Tyler Anderson, his numbers look really good. 2.58 ERA, 1.06 whip. So maybe you are actually getting some value on the Dodgers here because Anderson has pitched well this season, but I don't buy it. I still don't like him. 39-17 strikeout walk ratio is not that great. He has allowed 7 home runs, which isn't that great. 31 hits in 45 1/3 is good. So he's limiting, allowing runners to reach base just because he's not allowing that many hits. But I think he's actually been skating by facing bad offenses. I mean, who was the best offense that he even faced this season? He's faced St. Louis, Cleveland, Houston, San Francisco, Pittsburgh, Seattle, Toronto, and Baltimore. I mean, he's not been facing like elite lineups here. This is going to be the best offense he's faced this entire season so far with the Dodgers. So he's really having to step up in class to do this. So I think he might struggle in this game. I don't buy Anderson's numbers here, man. He hasn't been that good. He's 35 years old. You don't all of a sudden become an ace like this at 35 years old, man. I'm sorry. It just doesn't happen. His numbers throughout his career have been significantly worse than this. Against the Dodgers, I mean, his numbers are not great. And 117 at-bats. Yeah, he's allowed 7 home runs to them. So there might be some guys you can look at for player props. Ohtani is 4 for 7 with a home run off of. That's pretty good. 22-16 strikeout walk ratio for Anderson against the Dodgers hitters is really bad. That's way too many walks. And he's allowed a 265 average, which isn't that bad. But a 977 OPS because he's allowed so many extra base hits. 9 doubles, 6 triples, 7 home runs, and 16 walks. So his OPS is like sky high against the Dodgers. So I do not like how this sets up for Anaheim. And let's add another situation in the mix here. Another thing that sets up well in the Dodgers here. Guess what we got here, baby? We got a veteran Hall of Fame pitcher, Clayton Kershaw, making his return from being injured, baby. Making his first start of the year. Huge. He's 37, so I don't think he's done yet, man. We know what he is, man. I mean, he's an ace pitcher, and yeah, he pitched a little bit last year and didn't do great in 7 starts, but it was a small sample size. 24-9 strikeout walk ratio was really not that bad last year. I mean, it wasn't up to his level. I mean, his level has been completely elite throughout his career, strikeout walk ratio, but still not bad numbers there, really. His whip was bad. He actually allowed too many hits, more than 1 hit per inning last year, so that was his issue last year. He was too hittable. Wasn't really totally healthy, I don't think. Went back on the injured list, or the DL. I still call it the DL a lot, but I think that the fact that you have a veteran pitcher like this coming back, he absolutely knows how to pitch, man. I think he's going to be ready for this. He's going to be real excited to get back into the game here and pitch. So a lot of times bettors will be like hesitant to play on a pitcher when, well, he didn't do that well last year. Hasn't been good for 2 years now. We don't know if he's going to bounce back from injury. Personally, I think that he is. I think this is a huge boon for the Dodgers. I mean, they have a ridiculous fleet of starting pitchers, and it's just like they're all hurt all the time. Like Kershaw has been hurt, Snell is hurt, Glasnow is hurt. It's just ridiculous. Imagine if all those guys are in the lineup, we're in the rotation. You have legitimately 3 aces, and then if Ohtani rejoins the rotation too, imagine if that was the rotation. That would be unbelievably insane. And then who else do they even have as a starter? I forget. I'm not even remembering all the starters who are even actually that good. And the Dodgers are good enough that they've kind of just been getting away with not having these guys there. So for Kershaw, yeah, I mean, he has not pitched since August of last year. So he has not pitched for a long time, as I already said. And against these Anaheim hitters, he's been good against them in the past. In 58 at-bats, yeah, he's walked too many of them, 7 walks, but 3 of them are from Solar, so I don't think he's going to do solar panel. I don't think, one guy isn't going to do all the damage against you in one start, so even if he does, that'll limit the overall damage, I should say. So I'm not as concerned by that. 18-7 strikeout walk ratio, but he has held Anaheim to a 121 average and 405 OPS. So I think this is a mismatch both in all the matchup, all the ways that you can look at the matchups in this game, and all the ways you can look at it as a situation. I think everything lines up on the Dodgers, so I just think I have to do it. So we will play the Dodgers in that one. That's going to do it for me, man. Hopefully we can get something done here. With today's slate of games here, we got, what do we have? 4 baseball plays. We got 1 NBA play, 1 NHL play, and 1 WNBA play. And one more time, WNBA Aces, Las Vegas, plus the 4 points, and sprinkle some on the money line as well. Hockey, we got the Dallas Stars on the money line, minus 150 or whatever it's going to be. Game 7, Denver, Oklahoma City Thunder, and NBA under 223.5 or whatever the total is going to be. In baseball, we got an over 9.5 in New York, Mets, Yankees. We got a first 5-inning money line on the Washington Nationals at around plus 120. Full game money line Atlanta Braves plus 100. And full game run line on the Dodgers minus 1.5 at minus 122. So 4 baseball plays, and we're playing them in all different ways. I don't know if I've ever done that before. Maybe, but we have a total. We have a first 5 money line. We have a full game money line, and we have a full game run line. And we don't have a first 5 total either. So that's going to do it. Tower Gang Tone on Twitter, patreon.com/Tower Gang. Throw us some support and get your Bohemian Grove tickets. Come out and see us. Late June, that's going to do it for now. I will probably be making some podcast rounds and doing an announcement soon as well, so stay tuned for that. Peace out for now, guys. Let's have a good Saturday here. Oh, and I gave out the Preakness, the way that I kind of look at the Preakness as well, so hopefully that information is helpful as well. First time I've done that on the show. I've only talked about the Kentucky Derby in the past. I only did it once last year, so that probably means I'll talk about the Belmont Stakes as well, so I'm listening to more of the experts on the horses this time. It's going to do it. Peace out, guys.